How's it going, everyone? Got quite a lot of PlayStation updates to go over in this video. Honestly, it is a little bit comical for me to talk about it, but it looks like Lost Soul Aside may be getting some more news soon, as a rating has popped up for the game, and that generally points towards some sort of update coming. We'll talk about it. I'm sure some of you guys at this point aren't even aware of this game's existence and how stylish and flashy it looks. And at one point, it was one of the more anticipated PlayStation titles. Lost Soul Aside, a game that has been looked forward to for damn near a decade at this point, may finally be getting an update. As noted by Daniel Amana on Twitter after noting that Lost Soul Aside got an ISBN license approval, this means the game has been reviewed and can officially launch in mainland China. In other words, there will be news for the launch of the game fairly soon, at least within the next 3 months or so typically. Now, when I was talking about 2024 being a barren game for PlayStation game releases, I had pointed to the fact that Lost Soul Aside could be one of those surprise game releases if it decides to ever get an update, and I'm not getting my hopes up yet, but maybe there's a sliver of hope that this is actually happening. Again, people have been looking forward to this game for damn near a decade, so I really don't want to push the cart before the horse at this point, and I want to say that there were videos that we uploaded of like our most anticipated games of 2018, and Lost Soul Aside was on that list. Obviously, that did not come to fruition, and at this point, it's hard to be excited for games like this, and really, to a lot of people, myself included, Lost Soul Aside is one of those games you kind of label as vaporware because you don't know if this game is ever coming out. And that's why I look at games like Lost Soul Aside, that's why I look at games like Project Awakening, even games like BioWare announcing a new Mass Effect, Quantic Dream's Star Wars games. These games are so far out, and the game development world is so unpredictable. There's so many things that happen. Hell, we had the world shut down a couple of years ago. Like, let's be real here. There's a lot of things that can happen. So when these developers and publishers announce a game 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years before it's supposed to come out, and most of the times it's not originally designed for an announcement 10 years ahead of time, but that's what it ultimately turns out to be. It's like we've seen this so many times that it gets a little bit comical and honestly a little bit annoying to me. That doesn't mean I don't want to play Lost Soul Aside. I absolutely do want to play Lost Soul Aside, and I think LSA coming out in the fall would absolutely add a jolt, add a bit of life for the PlayStation release cycle that we've been talking about it over and over again. But 2024, from a first-party standpoint, and LSA wouldn't be a first-party game, but at least it would be a game that PlayStation fans have been looking forward to for a while. It would add a little bit of jolt to the library this year, but this, from a first-party standpoint, worst year of PlayStation history. You gotta get some of these third-party titles that you're publishing out, and LSA would be one of those games that for the fall can really add a layer to it, because right now you're looking ahead to the fall, and generally speaking, at this point, we're starting to get an idea of what we're gonna get for the latter portion of the year, and Sony very rarely announces a game and follows up with a release soon thereafter. So, Lost Soul Aside is an existing announcement, so it getting an official release date, let's say at the PlayStation Showcase, that would be awesome. If you wanna do a showcase this year and you really wanna get people to forget about the absolute atrocity, the abomination that was the PlayStation Showcase last year, you set up for a big 2025, and you drop an announcement like a Lost Soul Aside comes out in the fall. You want to reframe PlayStation Showcases from what it was last year, because right now that Showcase label evaporated a lot of goodwill, because that was one of the worst presentations I've ever seen, and especially from the standpoint of I have high expectations out of Sony. It's not like a Nintendo E3 of 2008 where people are going into that event not expecting much, and then, you know, you get Wii Music closing out the show, or whatever the case may be. From Sony's standpoint, first party is absolutely revered. Them from an exclusive standpoint and just game release standpoint, revered. And the fact that last year we got that abomination, that pile of trash that we did, let's make up for it in 2024, and now you're moving away from just, you know, going gung-ho on live service. I get it that live service is going to be a big part of your release structure, and moving away from it and getting back to what you know and what you do best is going to take a little bit of time. You can't just snap your finger and have a bunch of games ready. But if we can get an announcement for Ghost of Tsushima 2, we can get an announcement for the Naughty Dog game, and let's say both of those are slated for 2025 along with Death Stranding 2, maybe one will get pushed to 26, and you get Marvel's Venom in the mix as as well for 2025, and then you announce Lost Soul Aside for the fall of 2024, chef's kiss. That would completely negate all the atrocity of last year, and given that this ratings board approval has happened, that it's approved in China, that leads me to believe, and I hate pushing the cart before the horse, especially when it comes to a game like Lost Soul Aside, where it feels like we've been waiting in perpetuity for this game to actually come out, and we've been talking about this game for years and years. Remember back in the day when this game was coming out and people were saying that it was a Final Fantasy 15 clone because a lot of the characters look similar? Like, that's how far back we're going to. Final Fantasy 15 came out in the fall of 2016, guys, and I want to say Lost Soul Aside was revealed prior to the release of Final Fantasy 16. I'm 99% sure that that is the case, but it's just been a daunting cycle of just hearing snippets of information, the China Hero event happening, and maybe you'll get a trailer, maybe you'll get like 30 seconds of gameplay that's like, alright, we just don't hear anything for years and years, and then it's like, bro, is this game actually coming out? And at this point, even if it does come out, I don't know what to expect out of it. When it comes to these games that are in development for 7-8 years, I'm always a little bit skeptical. Now, to be fair, LSA started as a small project. It was a one-man project, I believe, and then they expanded and got Ulti-Zero Games on board, and then it became a game that was really getting its groove. Sony came in with the funding, so on and so forth, and then it found its groove in development. But still, it's been a long time, and that's why when games like Black Myth Wukong are revealed, Project Awakening, and even Stellar Blade earlier, I was like, yo, let's see if these games actually ever come out. Thankfully, in the case of Black Myth Wukong, that's out this August. Stellar Blade just came out. Stellar Blade turned out fantastic, so sometimes these things turn out really well, but I always feel like, and you can tell me I'm wrong for this, go in with a pessimistic mindset, go in expecting absolute nothing, and then you will be pleasantly surprised. I should have done that for the showcase last year, and I wouldn't have been just grandiose disappointment with that, but they can really flip the script. And I'm not saying you gotta do everything like that, where you gotta do Naughty Dog's new title, you gotta do a Sucker Punch, Ghost of Tsushima 2, and then you also drop Lost Soul Aside, and you got Death Stranding scheduled for 25. Like, that's a lot, but if they can do that, that would really change a little bit of the perception. And it's not like Sony needs to do anything, bro. Look at what Microsoft's doing. Like, it's GG. The console war at this stage of the game is is pretty much over, but you still want to see PlayStation crush it from where they know they can crush it at. And I'm sure they'll push their Concords, they'll push their fair games, and there'll be a lot of that, and I get it. They've invested a lot into these games. These games are gonna come out, so you gotta promote them, and maybe they'll turn out well. Helldivers 2 was a gigantic success, and that's a live service title. I just don't see every one of their games being successful, and you can't. Helldivers 2, I think, is an exception to the rule, not the rule itself. But if we can get some of those core titles that PlayStation fans want in LSA, a new Naughty Dog single-player game, even if it's, I don't know if it's Last of Us Part 3, I don't know if it's a new IP, whatever it is, and then a Ghost of Tsushima 2, if you get those 3 games to really build the showcase around from a core PlayStation standpoint, and obviously Lost Soul Aside would be one of those games that you sneak in there for a 24 release, and it doesn't fit the criteria of major PlayStation franchise getting a release. LSA is a new IP coming from a relatively unknown studio, so it could be the big fall game, and then you set up for a big 2025. You take the L on the live service games, you made some mistakes, and you invest a lot into factions. That's never coming to fruition, or maybe it'll be baked into Part 3, who knows, maybe we'll see the Horizon multiplayer project, but it's time to get back to what Sony does best, and if you get an LSA, if you get Naughty Dog in the mix, if you get Sucker Punch in the mix, Death Stranding 2, there could be a big fall of 2024. Not a big fall of 2024 per se, because LSA wouldn't be this gigantic game, but I do think people would be excited for it, and then you set up for a big 25 as well. Again, we'll see how it all turns out. I feel like I'm getting a little bit too optimistic by the end of this video talking about LSA coming out fall of this year, but we'll see how it ultimately turns out. But given the window that Daniel Amon noted, within the next 3 months, showcase, if it happens, you know, end of May, end of June, around that range, that would fit that window. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.